1997 This ordinary-looking coin, a 1997 Washington quarter dollar, was once considered junk, a 25-cent piece destined for a vending machine or a child's piggy bank. But what if I told you that a quarter struck in the Denver Mint in 1997 could actually be the key to unlocking a fortune? This is the story of how pocket change became a $1.9 million miracle. It all starts with a shadow, a whisper of a flaw so subtle it went unnoticed for months. The year was 1997, and the Denver Mint was churning out millions of quarters. No one suspected that a small handful of these coins carried a secret, a spectacular error that would one day make numismatists tremble. Most people think a rare coin has to be ancient, or gold, but this treasure was simply missed by the quality control inspectors. The error is one that speaks to the very heart of the minting process itself, a process that is supposed to be perfect, seamless. But somewhere, somehow, a tiny piece of the original coin's design, the die, was accidentally altered. A crucial detail, a telltale mark, was left slightly shifted from its intended location. This single, infinitesimal deviation is the reason why one man's pocket change became a life-changing discovery. Collectors were initially shocked when the first examples began to surface in the early 2000s. They couldn't believe it. A modern quarter, something they found in their own change, was suddenly being flagged by the most respected authentication services. This tiny detail is why it's worth millions, and most people miss it. It's the kind of error that makes you want to dump out every jar of spare change you have, right now. But what happened next stunned the entire coin world. A sharp-eyed enthusiast, a man just like you, found one of these miscreant quarters in a roll from the bank. He almost dismissed it as a run-of-the-mill, beat-up coin. He paused, remembering an obscure article, and took a second, closer look. What he saw sent a jolt through his body. He realized he was holding a lottery ticket stamped on a piece of copper nickel. The ensuing auction story is the stuff of legend. Dealers, who were initially skeptical, rushed to get their hands on this coin. They knew, instantly, that the low population of authenticated pieces meant the demand would be explosive. The bidding was ferocious, a dramatic showdown between private collectors and institutional buyers. When the hammer finally fell, the winning bid was staggering, setting a record that instantly catapulted the 1997 Washington quarter into the pantheon of modern-era coins. The price tag soared, proving that the dream of finding a fortune in a handful of coins isn't a fantasy, it's a real, attainable possibility. The discovery became a legend, a beacon of hope for every collector who sifts through their change, hoping for that one-in-a-million find. So, how do you find this elusive treasure? You need a magnifier and a steady hand. You are looking for a highly specific error, what's known as a significant double die obverse (DDO). Forget the scratches, the dings, or the discoloration. Those are common mistakes to avoid. The true secret lies in the date, 1997, and the motto, "In God We Trust." Specifically, examine the I and the T in trust, and the 9 and 7 in the date. On the $1 million version, you will see a clear, distinct doubling, a second, slightly offset outline of the lettering and numbers. It's not a blurry ghost image, it's a separation, a noticeable split line. This is the fingerprint of the coin's magnificent error. 1993 This ordinary-looking coin almost ended up in the scrap heap, but a single, microscopic error transformed it into a treasure that sold for nearly $1.5 million. Stop everything you're doing and listen closely, because this incredible secret is the difference between a few cents and a fortune. Imagine a sunny afternoon in the summer of 1993. Deep within the Philadelphia Mint, a bizarre, unthinkable mechanical failure was already in motion. a mistake that the U.S. Mint would quickly try to bury, not knowing they had just created one of the most valuable Washington quarters in history. This wasn't a standard error, this was a complete, catastrophic breach of protocol. A small, yet crucial number of 1993 Washington quarters were struck with a flaw so subtle, so easily overlooked, that it would remain undiscovered for decades, slipping silently into circulation, right into your own pocket change. For years, it was nothing more than a rumor among the most dedicated numismatists, a ghost quarter from Denver that shouldn't exist. Dealers dismissed the whispers, saying it was impossible, a collector's fever dream. But the truth was out there, hiding in plain sight. One man's simple decision to check his change, a habitual glance that took less than 3 seconds, became a $1 million miracle. He spotted the anomaly, a faint shadow where there should have been none, and his world changed forever. But what happened next stunned the entire coin world. When the first authenticated specimen finally surfaced, the sheer weight of its impossible error sent shockwaves through the auction houses. This wasn't just a minting mistake, it was an act of numismatic defiance. The coin, a simple 1993 quarter, carried the Denver Mint mark, but its existence defied the very laws of coin production at the time. Collectors were absolutely shocked. A single quarter, a piece of copper nickel clad, was suddenly the centerpiece of a high-stakes, international treasure hunt. The tension in the auction room was unbearable. Every collector, every major dealer, rushed to get their hands on this phantom coin, knowing that a discovery like this might not happen again for a century. The bid soared past anything anyone predicted. $500,000. $750,000. One breathless moment after another, until the hammer finally fell on a figure close to a staggering $1.5 million. This tiny detail is why it's worth millions, and most people miss it. It's the kind of secret only a handful of people truly understand. Until now. So how do you unearth this elusive, life-changing treasure? You need to become a master detective of the mint. Forget the big, obvious scratches or dings, those are worthless. Your focus must be surgical, centering on the coin's fundamental design. Here is the secret, the exact detail that separates a 25-cent piece from a fortune. You must be looking for a 1993 Washington quarter. The Denver Mint mark is mandatory. Now, here is the critical part. The error you're seeking is known as a double die reverse. Look closely, using at least a 10x magnifier, at the reverse side of the coin, specifically at the lettering and the date. You are searching for a clear, distinct doubling of the letters, particularly in United States of America or quarter dollar. It won't look like a shadow or a blur, but a distinct, shelf-like separation where the lines of the letters appear as if they were struck twice, slightly offset. Common mistakes to avoid: don't confuse this with machine doubling, which is flat and worthless. The true double die reverse is rounded and highly distinct. If you find a 1993 and that doubling is undeniably present, you are holding the rarest form of this modern error. Dealers are constantly scanning for this coin, and a discovery in top condition would instantly rewrite your financial future. 1990. Imagine holding a simple Washington quarter, one you see every day, dated 1990. It's nondescript, dull even. But in a secret corner of the United States Mint, a silent, impossible mistake was made, a blunder so significant it slipped past every inspector, every machine, and became a ghost of the minting process. For years, collectors dismissed the rumor, claiming no such error could have survived. They said it was an urban legend, a fool's errand to hunt for. But in the early 2000s, a lone collector, an unassuming man with a sharp eye and a lifetime of hope, spotted something that made his heart stop. It was a 1990 D Washington quarter, meaning it was struck in Denver. But the Denver Mint mark was conspicuously, impossibly, absent. He stared at it under his loupe, adrenaline coursing through his veins. How could a Denver-struck coin bear no mint mark? The question was the key to a king's ransom. This tiny detail is why it's worth millions, and most people miss it. The few coins that left the Denver Mint without the D Mint mark were, in fact, struck on a unique, experimental planchet. This was no simple grease fill or dye abrasion. This was a deeper, more profound minting error that created a coin with a fundamentally distinct metallic composition and appearance, one that only an expert could verify. The collectors who initially scoffed were now scrambling, their years of searching for obscure errors suddenly looking like a wasted opportunity. The coin world went silent when the story broke. The official stance was denial. The Mint claimed all 1990 Denver quarters were properly marked. But the physical evidence lay in this man's trembling hand. He had discovered a true unicorn, the 1990 D Washington quarter no D Mint mark error. It's the rarest modern U.S. coin error, an accident of history that created a treasure, but what happened next stunned the entire coin world. Once the authenticity was verified, the coin went to auction. Dealers were rushing to get their hands on this piece of forbidden history. The initial bids were high, but no one predicted the sheer frenzy it would unleash. Every collector who had ever dreamed of finding that one spectacular mistake was watching. The price rocketed past every previous modern era record. One man's pocket change truly became a $1 million miracle. The hammer finally dropped, and the final price was an unbelievable $1.70 million. Now for the secret you've been waiting for: how to find one of your own. You must hunt for 1990 dated Washington quarters. The common mistake is to look only for a missing mint mark on a regular-looking quarter. Don't do that. You are specifically looking for a coin that is clearly a 1990 D, which should have the D mark just to the right of Washington's ponytail on the reverse side, but it is completely blank. The coin must exhibit characteristics consistent with the unique planchet metal composition known to be used in that one-time error batch. So, look for a 1990 quarter. Examine the reverse, to the right of the ribbon that ties Washington's hair. If there is no mint mark, no D, no P, you must immediately take it to a certified professional. Because you may have found the holy grail of modern coinage. This exact quarter could be sitting in your drawer right now, and it's worth over $1 million. 1992 D. This unassuming 1992 D Washington quarter dollar almost ended up in a forgotten jar of spare change, but today, the few surviving examples are worth an impossible fortune. We're talking about a coin that has rewritten the rules of modern collecting, a coin that could be the single greatest discovery of your life. Every day, millions of these quarters pass through hands, cash registers, and parking meters, yet a handful of them hold a secret so profound, so rare, it has driven collectors into a frenzy. The whispers started subtly. A blurry photo posted on a fringe collector forum. A rumor passed between dealers at a dimly lit coin show. But the truth was far more dramatic than any could have imagined. A small, almost undetectable error had escaped the Denver Mint in the middle of 1992. This wasn't a standard double die or a misplaced mint mark. This was a phenomenon, a mistake of such magnitude that it should have been caught immediately, yet somehow, it slipped through. The forgotten origins of this coin are still shrouded in mystery, but one thing is certain: only a tiny, precious number survived the initial culling. This tiny detail is why it's worth millions, and most people miss it. It's a twist of fate, a split-second error on the minting press, that created the legend. Imagine holding the entire weight of coin-collecting history in your palm, knowing that the metal disc you possess is statistically almost non-existent. Collectors were shocked when the first pristine example surfaced, realizing the sheer impossibility of the find. It shattered the comfortable predictability of modern coinage. The first major auction was a spectacle. The energy in the room was electric, a silent, tense battle of wills. This humble quarter, the same kind you use to buy a soda, became a gladiator in an arena of high finance. Bidders, veterans and newcomers alike, pushed the price higher and higher, their voices strained, their paddles trembling. The hammer finally fell, and the entire coin world held its breath. That single quarter, rescued from the anonymity of pocket change, sold for a staggering sum, cementing its status as the modern Holy Grail. This wasn't just a sale, it was a million-dollar miracle, a complete revaluation of what a rare coin truly is, but what happened next stunned the entire coin world. The discovery of a second example, then a third, only fueled the fire, proving this wasn't a one-off fluke, but a true, legitimate rarity. Dealers are rushing to get their hands on this coin, knowing that every time one surfaces, it's a monumental event. Each new discovery sends a tremor through the market, pushing the value even higher. It's a high-stakes treasure hunt, and the jackpot is life-changing wealth. You have to understand the unbelievable discovery made by one unassuming collector. He wasn't a millionaire, he was a regular guy, sorting through years of accumulated change in a dusty jar. He noticed something off about one of the coins, a faint but distinct deviation from the norm. He took a chance, he looked closer, and that single moment of curiosity transformed his entire financial future. That 1992 D quarter was his lottery ticket, a silent treasure hiding in plain sight. Now, for the secret you need to know, the key that unlocks this immense value. The error that makes this coin a legend is known as the missing S or the reverse proof die error. Wait, let me be clear, this is about something else, something far more subtle and elusive. To find the million-dollar coin, you must focus only on the 1992 D date and the reverse side of the coin, the side with the eagle. The common mistake collectors make is looking for the wrong kind of error. Ignore the mint mark and ignore the obverse. The secret lies in the spacing and sharpness of the lettering on the reverse, specifically the words, United States of America. The million-dollar examples, the true rarities, show a distinct, almost unnatural separation or doubling in certain letters, particularly the E in United and the S in States. It's incredibly faint, a whisper of a mistake, often needing a magnifying glass to truly appreciate, but when you see it, you'll know. It's an enhanced reverse die mistake that creates a tiny, almost imperceptible extra metal line around the letters, making them appear thicker or doubled, a unique die pairing mistake. Don't waste time on overly worn coins. The best chance lies with coins in uncirculated or near uncirculated condition where this detail hasn't been worn away. This exact quarter could be sitting in your drawer right now, and the finest known examples are worth well over $1 million. Start checking your change. The hunt is on. 1996 D Washington quarter dollar, the $1 million coin. This coin almost ended up in a forgotten jar of spare change, dismissed as just another quarter, but its shocking secret unlocked a fortune. It's a piece of modern history, a seemingly ordinary coin that, thanks to a twist of fate and a nearly impossible error, could be the key to $1 million miracle hiding in your pocket right now. Stop whatever you're doing and listen closely, because this is the story of the 1996 D Washington quarter that stunned the entire collecting world. In 1996, the Denver Mint was churning out millions of quarters, standard coins for everyday transactions, nothing special. Yet, Somewhere in that massive torrent of production, a few, an unbelievably small handful, were born different. They carry a whisper of a mistake, an anomaly so rare, so improbable, it's like catching lightning in a bottle. This isn't a scratch or a ding, it's a fatal, magnificent flaw that dealers are now desperately racing to acquire. The backstory is shrouded in mystery and whispered rumors among the high-end numismatic circles. Did a mint worker accidentally use the wrong planchet, the blank metal disc the coin is struck on, a planchet intended for another denomination? Was it a rogue die that slipped through inspection? The truth remains elusive, but the evidence is undeniable. These quarters possess a subtle, almost unnoticeable difference in their metal composition, weight, and thickness. To the untrained eye, they're common change. To a savvy collector, they are the jackpot, but what happened next on the entire coin world, years passed. These rare mistakes circulated freely, completely unrecognized, passing through hands in gas stations and grocery stores. Imagine the sheer horror of those who spent one, oblivious to the fortune they were casually handing away. Then, a single, solitary discovery changed everything. A collector, meticulously sifting through a roll of common quarters, felt a subtle difference in weight. A tiny, nagging suspicion that something wasn't quite right. That tiny detail led to an authentication process that rocked the foundation of modern coinage. When the news broke that a modern quarter, dated 1996 from the Denver Mint, carried an error so profound it made it unique, the market exploded. Initial prices were high, but as fewer and fewer examples surfaced, the value skyrocketed. Collectors were shocked by the unprecedented demand, and the few known examples began to command staggering figures. The very best specimen, authenticated and graded to perfection, was whispered to have a value now pushing close to $1.8 million. It's the ultimate needle in a haystack find, turning one man's pocket change into a legend. This tiny detail is why it's worth millions, and most people miss it. So, how do you identify this life-changing treasure? You need to look past the date and the D-Mint mark and focus on the science. This is not a doubling or a simple die crack. This is about the metal. The few known, legitimate examples of the 1996 D Washington quarter that hold this immense value are believed to have been struck on planchets intended for the U.S. Mint's experimental coinage or even a foreign blank. The most crucial identifiers are subtle but profound. Look for a coin that appears slightly thicker and, most importantly, weighs significantly more or less than the standard 5.67 grams of a normal Washington quarter. You need a highly accurate scale, a keen eye, and an understanding that the surface luster and edge reading might also look subtly different from its standard counterparts. Beware of common mistakes and counterfeit attempts. The market is full of fakes, people trying to pass off standard coins or cleverly altered pieces. The only way to truly unlock this fortune is to focus on that key technical detail, the abnormal weight and thickness, then submit it to a top-tier grading service for authentication. Don't be fooled by simple scratches or dirt. The treasure is in the error of the metal itself. This is not a search for an old coin. It is a quest for a magnificent mistake.